Hello everyone, I am Nandita Sharma from Zen of Mind. Let's talk about Mokshapat today. As I like to call it, is the path to moksha. This beautiful divination board that looks like snakes and ladders or chutes and ladders has an interesting history. It was introduced in the 13th century by a poet named Gyandev. It was known as Gyan Chopper, literally translated as game of knowledge. The game was created to teach sacred knowledge of morality and values to children in a game based manner so that even the most complex things can be understood with ease. The snakes stood for vices or bad deeds. The ladders stood for virtues or good deeds. The ladders allowed you to rise, whereas the snakes made you fall. The ladders made you ascend spiritually and opened gates to heaven and showed the path to moksha or liberation, whereas the snakes or vices take you back to a cycle of rebirths. With time, the game changed many names and many forms, but the essence of the game remained. It continued to guide the soul's path towards reunion with the absolute or cosmic consciousness. The current game board has 72 squares, charting the soul's path and course of life. It has 10 snakes and 10 ladders. Each square represents an aspect of the soul's journey and evolution. As the player rises up the rows of the game, they realize greater aspects of the self. His sense of detachment grows with the deeper understanding of the game, as he realizes that each state is temporary and something to move beyond, to explore something greater. The concept of moksha is, of course, the liberation from the cycle of death and birth, which in turn means to release the soul from the cycle of cause and effect. The purpose of any soul that is here is to get moksha, or salvation, nirvana, or liberation. And that is the one and only purpose of the soul, to get liberated and merge into cosmic consciousness. Moksha is not easy due to this law of cause and effect, the law of karma. Dharma is the karma that leads to moksha. That is the intent of the game. Mokshapatam is the game of the rishis. It helps you to integrate wisdom of yoga and Bhagavad Gita, wisdom of ancient texts like the Veds and Purans. It shows what decision leads to a fall or spiritual growth. It educates on how to discern right from wrong. The game was meant to show that all pain, suffering, and evolution is due to mixing up the right and wrong, or truth and falsehood. The process is entirely in our hands because we are given a powerful tool of consciousness. Karma is nothing but our actions. Dharma is nothing but our morality. When we do karma with dharma, good karma, and vice versa. It is right to say that this is the game of karma. Good actions and bad actions. Good thoughts and bad thoughts. Good decisions and bad decisions. Like Google Maps shows us the right route to take to reach our destination. Without a map to guide us, we can get lost. Mokshapat is the map of life that guides us to the right path to take, with providing the right knowledge in order to reach our end goal of liberation and merging with cosmic consciousness. Let's look at this blank game board with just the squares. It starts with number 1, Genesis or Janma, birth. Since you've just been born, you cannot start rising spiritually. So it is correct to assume that there is no ladder here. Let's move to the next box, which is illusion, number 2, or Maya. What do you think is illusion? Is it a good box or a bad box? Is it a virtue or a vice? Is it a box that could have a ladder or a snake? It is a vice. So this box also definitely does not have a ladder. But you'd think it could have a snake, since it is a vice. But this is the last row of the board. And if a snake bites you here, you cannot go any lower. So there is no snake head at this box. But there is a tail end of a snake, which is coming from another box. That is the box of darkness at number 63. Denoting that even though the player rose up the rows of ascension and moved to the high row, he allowed a negative emotion, such as darkness, or a vice as darkness to appear. Doing bad karmas, even though you are spiritually awakened, or following negative spiritual practices, is going to lead you to come down. It also shows that you got lost while on the path of spirituality. These can all bring the player down to the bottom row due to an illusion created by his spiritual nature. This was just an example to illustrate the board to you. The board also provides knowledge of loks and what can be seen in the Western world today as levels of existence. This single board integrates ancient knowledge, numerology, astrology, and knowledge of chakras without requiring an in-depth knowledge of any of these other modalities. When we use this for divination or to get answers to our everyday problems, we can get great insights and revelations. If you have not taken a reading, it is highly recommended to try getting answers through the wisdom of the board. Many people have also learned the Mokshapat board from me, though they are not practicing or professionally practicing occultists or people wanting to practice professionally. But they learn just to understand the insights on how to live a better life in line with the laws of karma and to understand the path to moksha. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.